Hey guys, this here is a Moss Tropical Breeze ceiling fan. This is a top mount spinner ceiling fan. And now I got this fan actually yesterday, totally unexpectedly, actually. There was an estate sale that I'd seen signs for on a street that's like right outside of my neighborhood. My neighborhood's not really a neighborhood, it's more of like a suburb or like a little loop, honestly. But anyways, it was just right, just, it just happened to be yesterday. I think it was, yeah, yesterday, today, and tomorrow is when is when the times were when it was. And so I just went there yesterday, not expecting to find anything. Walked through the entire house, and I saw a set of blades sitting on the shelf in the basement as I was about to leave. And I was like, oh my god, I didn't see a motor at first. So I just kind of looked around like the entire basement again, see if I can find a motor. And I went back to where the blades had been sitting on the shelf. On the floor, in a plastic bag, there was the motor. So the entire fan was there. It's in almost perfect condition, honestly. I think it was installed at one point and they took it down or something, probably several years ago, because I don't think it had been installed for a while because they had regular light fixtures and everything in the house. Like in every bedroom they had a single bulb light fixture. So they probably took it down. Maybe it was in like the dining room or something, but I really don't know what its history is. But either way, I have it now, and it was only $5 as well, because it wasn't priced, and the blades were in a separate bag from the motor, and I was like, oh, she's probably gonna want like $30 for it, and I only had a 20 on me, so I took it up to the lady, and I was like, how much do you want for this? And she was like, $5, and I was like, okay. So yeah, I think I got a pretty good deal with this one. So I think this is from the early to mid 80s. I'm not exactly sure when. And I'm not sure who the OEM for this one is. I know that Moss used mainly TAT and CEC for their OEMs. I think it was CEC and then they switched to TAT. And I don't think this is a TAT product. So I'm pretty sure that this one is a CEC made one. I'm not sure about that. So don't quote me on that. I really don't know. But it also could be air cool. I'm not, because I think they used air cool later on. So I don't know. But either way, it has a cast aluminum spinner motor that has vents in it on the bottom plate. The blades are stencil. You can't really see them that well because it's not very bold stenciling. It's not very dark. It's very faint and it's like gold. So the whole fan is antique brass. I think these also came in polished brass. I've seen them before. I don't know if they came in white or not. I don't think I've ever seen one in white. But the tassel pull chain is original to the fan. Those came with the fan from the factory. I love the sort of pointed nose cap that it has. And it's got a bell canopy, which is something that a lot of older Moss models had. I know that they switched to the Moss canopy later on. And I know there are different models of these. Some of them have the bell canopy and some of them have like a flat canopy that CEC or Commander use. So that is another hint that these are probably CEC made. I'm not sure. But let's go ahead and turn the fan on high. So assuming it hadn't been run in a really long time since I had gotten it, I did give it some oil in both bearings. I don't think it needed it though, but it was always good. And it just needed a cleaning. It was very dusty. So here's high speed. It goes really fast, which, I mean, I expected. It's a pretty beefy motor, and the blades aren't too steeply pitched, but the airflow is actually quite impressive. It's not as much as like a Casablanca or something with a K55 or stack motor, but it's definitely a lot more than like a residential fan of today. I definitely would consider installing this one somewhere, maybe my sister's room, but I love how the original looks in there, so also be my parents' room. I don't know. I don't know if they like spinners. I know that this one's motor is big enough that I think it wouldn't matter because, you know, spinners with large motors, the proportions are they're kind of more in line. That's why another reason why I like spinners that have enormous motors, because they're powerful, they're good quality, well built, last forever, and they look really good as well. The only thing that would make this one better is if it had a lower canopy. So here's low speed. Now this one I also noticed has a little bit of a cyclic hum, like a buzz that it makes with every revolution. And I think that's a bearing issue. The bearings probably need to be either realigned, re-greased, or probably replaced at some point, but right now it works fine. It's very quiet otherwise. And the bearings themselves seem pretty good. It spins very freely, has a good spin down. So that's low speed. It's not a really good restaurant low, it's a pretty fast low. Moving a lot of air for this speed actually. This is a very functional low. I could put it on a speed control and make it slower, of course. Or a solid state or something like that. I always have loved the way that the vents looked spinning around on these vented spinners. Switch it to reverse. So these have been popping up really frequently in this area as of recent. I'm not sure why. There was one that also was on Facebook Marketplace that was new in the box that I had a chance of getting, I think, before I went to Ohio, but I never got around to picking that up. And I think I'm not sure if it's sold or not. But now I don't need it because I have this one, and this one's in basically mint condition. Yeah, this one was cheaper. Although it would be nice to have a new in the box one, so we'll see. And then I could do a dual install. Of course I don't have the space for that. There's medium in reverse. It wobbles a slight bit in both forward and reverse. I did try to balance it as best I could. But yeah, it's still not perfect, and I'm not too happy with that, but it is what it is. I think the weight of the fan, because this one is heavy, surprisingly heavy. It looks a lot lighter than it should be. It looks like it should be light, but it's not. And I think the weight of the fan stabilizes it. And of course it uses a double claw mounting bracket up there, which is good. I have another one of those because I lost one of those in the move. I had one for my Evergo Ornate GE vent and one for my Moss Heirloom. And I had two of them. Then when we moved, I had one of them, and one of them is just gone, and I'm using one of them to hang the Evergo up right now. But yeah. So that's high speed. Actually, the wobbling is about the same in reverse. It seemed a little worse earlier when I tested it, but I can feel the airflow from it still, even in reverse. A lot of air movement. Definitely a powerful fan. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if you noticed, but the nose is a little loose. I'm not sure how to tighten that. There's probably a threaded nut up there somewhere that I can tighten, but here's your pull chain. It's an original, I believe, Leviton, I think. I haven't opened it up to see, but that nipple looks very Leviton-ish to me. It's probably one of the metal-bodied ones. reverse switch on the other side. And there's your vents on the spinner motor. The motor itself, it's a basic dome shape on the top, but at the bottom is a stepped shape. Almost looks like a KDK Royal Air. Very squared off. I like the way it looks. The blades are very generic, stencil. And then down rod and the bell canopy. And then the tag on the top right there, conveniently. This one is model number TFD AB-452. AB for antique brass and 52 inches. And TFD for Tropical Fan Deluxe, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what that stands for. Tropical Fan, that would be Top Tropical Breeze. I have no idea what TFD stands for. Anyways, yeah, once again, Moss Manufacturing Company. I think that's a date code right there. I'm not sure how to decode it though. Or it might be a serial number. So, what is it? Made in Taiwan. It said 225 RPM. I think it's definitely reaching that. So, yeah. Now these, I think I've mentioned it before with the Supreme spinner. My other brass vented spinner like this. These vented spinners like this are kind of childhood to me. I went to a daycare when I was little. This lady that lived sort of by my grandma's house, not in the same neighborhood, but in the same area. But it was also a townhouse very similar to my grandmother's house. And they had two spinners very similar to this. They were vented and they were brass. That's all I remember. I think they might have had lower canopies, but I really don't know. I was really young. They had one in the basement and one in the master bedroom upstairs. And I remember being a little bit frightened of them. I'm not sure why. Maybe because they were bigger than they were probably the biggest spinner motor fans I'd ever seen, because they were bigger than the Codeps at my aunt and uncle's house, and those were the only spinners I'd ever seen up to that point. So, and here's the tassel pull chain extension that is original to the fan, like I mentioned. So I think that's about it for this ceiling fan video. That is the Moss Tropical Breeze Deluxe spinner ceiling fan. Thank you for watching, and more to come.